بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
كيف حالكم؟
الحمد لله.
بسم الله.
بخير الحمد لله. وأنت كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله بخير الحمد لله. ضبط العودة إن شاء الله ساكن. يا all are in clear. You had a nice deep discussion about the legacy before this. Hey? Alhamdulillah. Intangibles are beneficial sometimes. Alhamdulillah. Allah. So, Bismillah, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wailul lil mutaffifin. Woe, destruction to the Mutafifin, those that lessen and lighten when it comes to the goods of other people. Alladina, those who, sifat describing those who, إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ يَسْتَوْفُونَ, when they take something in weight, عَلَى النَّاسِ, from people, يَسْتَوْفُونَ, they measure their weight in full. وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ يُخْسِرُونَ, and when they weigh, what's again now? كَالُوهُمْ, when they measure for them, أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ, or they weigh for them, يُخْسِرُونَ, they cause loss for other people. أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَٰئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ أَلَا يَظُنُّ, do they not think, فَاعِلْ أُولَٰئِكَ, do those people not think, أَنَّهُمْ, that they will not be مَبْعُوثُونَ, they will be raised. لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ, for a day which is a great day, a mighty day. يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ, on a day that people will stand before the Lord of all of the worlds. كَلَّا, nay, إِنَّ كِتَابَ الْفُجَّارِ لَفِي سِجِّينٍ, definitely the book of the wrongdoers is going to be in Sijjin, in a place called Sijjin. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا سِجِّينَ, and what will make you realize what Sijjin is? كِتَابٌ مَرْقُومٌ, a book which is inscribed. وَيْلُ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ, woe, destruction on that day to the mukaththibin, to the wrongdoers. الَّذِينَ يُكَذِّبُونَ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ, those that continue to lie against the day of judgment. وَمَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا كُلُّ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ, and does not lie against it, إِلَّا, except every mu'tad, every transgressor, athim, every continuous sinner. إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا, when our verses are recited upon them, قَالَ, they say, أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ, these are asatir, they are stories, fables, awwalin, from the first people, ancient fables. كَلَّا بَلْ, nay, rather. رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ, Rana has been covered, has been placed a rust, a covering, عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ, upon their hearts. What has covered their hearts? مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ, that which they used to earn. Do we end there? No. That is 40 now. So Allah spoke about the two aspects here, is that you have a outward aspect. And what's the outward aspect? The outward aspect is them making takdeeb. Meaning what you see someone, you see an action, and the action is someone deny. But Allah says, rather kallabal, nay, rather what the reality is, that's an inward problem. And the Quran is always there to highlight an inward reality and an outward reality. And not to be deceived by the outward, and to see what things are in the inward. And that is actually the real issue, is that their hearts are covered in this rust, in this covering. And we mentioned it is removed by tawbah and by good deeds. And so this is what Allah is referring to. And Allah says, Kalla, nay, innahum ma'ar rabbihim yawma idhin la mahjubun. Innahum, verily they an rabbihim, regarding their Lord, yawma idhin, on that day, they will be la, they will be definitely. So there's two emphasis points there. There's the inna and there is the la. They will definitely, undoubtedly be mahjubun. What's mahjubun? From the word hijab. What's the means? They'll be veiled. They'll be veiled. So the mahjub is the one who is veiled. So the hajib is the one who veils, and the mahjub is the one who is veiled. So what they mean they're veiled from Allah? No. So basically, what happens from like a metaphysical way, we can think of it in the case of closeness and distance. The Jannah is basically in like not obviously in a spatial but in a physical way. Jannah is closeness to Allah, and especially closeness to the rahmah of Allah. And Jahannam is actually just distance from Allah's rahmah. It means people get justice of Allah, but they don't get the rahmah of Allah to take them out. So it's distance from Allah's rahmah. And then when you think about that closeness, what is the closest thing that people experience in Jannah of Allah? Is that they will see Allah. The Prophet says you will see Allah like you see the Badr. Like you see the full moon. What that means is a long story. But like the reward for the believers is that they will see Allah. So people who are mahjub from the sight of Allah and from the rahmah of Allah. That there's a veil between them and closeness to Allah. So that's a good paradigm to think of in terms of close, because with Allah is all rahman, with Allah is all maghfirah, with Allah is all happiness, with Allah is all nur, and distant from Allah is the opposite of all of those things. And this is what Allah is saying, they're going to be mahjub. Thumma, then, innahum, verily they, and you can see here Allah moved here from the current state to the future state. كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ is there, state in this dunya. And Allah said, what's going to lead the state in the akhirah is that if you are going to be covered in this dunya, you're going to be veiled in the year after. When we cover in this dunya, you're going to be veiled in the year after. Most of seeking knowledge is actually unveiling. It's like a strange thing, but you actually accumulate knowledge to unveil yourself from delusion and deception. Like your fitra is to know Allah, and then like the world makes you like confused and yamaka and like all of those things, and then you just need like clarity to unveil and remove all of those layers. But if you keep yourself layered, like Rana, there's layers and layers and layers and layers. Allah is saying in the year after, there'll also be barriers and barriers between yourself and Allah. So for some of the Mutasawwifa, some of the people who say you must die before you die. Because like death is like actually like the great unveiling. Like no one denies Allah after they died. After you saw the angel of death came to you, after you come resurrected. So like the true person they actually die in this dunya. Because then everything else becomes insignificant. Like almost like the state you'll be when you enter your grave, you'll have complete like clarity and clear priorities. That state you must have while you're alive. No. Allah grant us those levels in very deceptive times. No. I think about like where the world is. I've been reading quite a bit about, with Facebook and the metaverse that's apparently coming. It's like interesting. It's interesting where human beings are going to, like the collective imagination of human beings are going to it. And I find like just, the metaverse is basically, we interact now via screens. So it's like limited though, because no matter how good, still on the screen. So the idea is if I put the glasses on, then I can basically do one of two things. I can either like alter my entire reality, because I can put another reality into my vision, into my ears. Because if you think about a human being, what your senses experience is actually what is like real to you. So what happens when they put something on your eyes and your eyes see something different, and they put something in your ears and your ears see something different, and they start putting out all the suits we can feel and touch, then actually what you feel and experience is actually different. So there's something called like, what's the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality? Virtual reality is when those eye sets completely close your current reality. So you said, I'm sitting here and I put it on here, I'm suddenly there, my camps by now. Lord is home for change. But you know what I mean? Because now I've covered that's called virtual reality. And there's something called augmented reality. So augmented reality is that I can see through my glasses, but I can put stuff into my reality that I want to. You ask me, I can put a few more students here. I can put like whatever here, jacuzzi in the corner. You can put it into it, so your world alters. And I find it so ironic because it's just like an irony for me also, is because they want to make it so good as if the person is next to you. So like the ultimate thing is actually for people to be like with people. so we're going to make it so good that you can be alone, but just like with people. So I don't just be with people. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like sometimes these things like get so like crazy that you like lose perspective. And I think that like from a collective like development, this is where human nature is going. And I want to touch on one thing. Maybe we're on the day of tangents here, but just to touch on one thing here, is I just want to touch on this idea that we think that humanity is progressing. Because built within, I don't know what you call this, modern philosophy, is that this idea that we were all primitive before, and now we became very, very smart, and everything we have here is progress, and it's all considered to be good. Yes, things have evolved, definitely. Like our tools have evolved, our equipment has evolved. But do you call that evolution of better tools, better science, better stuff, do you call that the progress of humanity? That's the question. Like, is that like a positive thing? Like, is humanity in a better space? And are we going to be in a better space 50 years down and 100 years down as we get more and more smarter and more technological? Are we it's almost like there's an uncritical value assessment to technology progress. That technology progress is synonymous with positive human development. And that there is one of that things that you must really question.
On average, people are living more healthier lives than maybe 100 years ago.
So those are all the questions you have to ask is what do you mean by human progress? So like if we live longer, is that human beings are better state than ever before? You know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is that is the kind of arguments people make, that there might be more food and I live longer and there's less disease, but are human beings better? So if I take it from a dunya perspective, yes, I can say I'm better. I have a big house, I have a car, I have all technology I have and all of those things. But what makes the human being, is that really it? And if can I put on my sketch card? I have to put on my careers computer. Can I come here? But basically, if you think about the human development, the human being, what is this thing here? So basically, we think about the human being. Anyway, you think about the human being, let's just do it, like, it's like, you think of human being as like a cone for me. Like, this is a cone. Like there's a cone. It's almost like the blue bottle top is like your dunya existence, and the rest of it is actually who you really are. Like as a spiritual being, and like the realities around you, it's almost like we're just saying like the blue top is better, and this ignorance of the rest of it. The point I want to make is that even within Muslim kind of thinkers, there's this notion that technological progress is automatically has a positive value judgment. And I would question that like deeply, because you must think about what society it leads to, and what type of human beings it's going to lead to. And you obviously put your criteria on what do you mean by better humans. And obviously we would put at the top of our better humans are people who are connected to Allah Ta'ala, who realize what reality is. Because for us, that is what is real. That you have a God, you have a Lord, and He's supreme, and you are accountable for a few years and you're going back to Him. That is like your supreme aqidah. And then all your akhlaqi things about how your etiquettes, how you deal with people, your kindness, and all of those things, the human relations that you have, those for us are all the benchmark things. Whether you have a little food, lot of food, that's like a bit secondary. I mean, those who have food, those don't have food. But we must question this notion of like, we are definitely getting better. I think a lot of times we're actually getting worse. No. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, where is this going? And like, what happens when it's not a screen anymore, but it's like actual my reality? Like, mommy, wait, I'm going to play with my friends. Joop, joop, joop.
I was thinking about something similar in the weekend. There's so many different aspects to it. So I'm sure many of us have gone back to now physical exercise. But I was just, I think in that moment of like switching profusely. So normal for us to pay subscription to healthier, just for healthy wellness.
Yes.
Now we need to go out for a run.
Yes.
Because lifestyle has changed so much. So now you have to like really like make sure that you can carve out the hour to go for a run, or you must go to the gym. And it was just like, is there nothing I can do that's actually going to benefit like the household or something else while I'm getting fit? It's insane.
No, it's like weird stuff becomes normal. Like I started gymming with some of my actual Mizan students. You know Ziad, no? Solomon. He's like super. He's like a super trainer. Anyway, I go gym with him. So I gym now in the mornings. But I really enjoy it. But I also do find it, like, from a philosophical point, I find it weird. Because I look at someone like doing lunges, and I'm thinking, like, you're carrying heavy stuff, walking up and down like 5 times. Like, why are you doing that? It's like, that's actually like objectively, this is like a strange. You came to a place to pick up metal things like 10 times and rest, 10 times rest, 10 times rest. And you pay, like, it's like I do it myself. I'm not saying I have a problem. I do it myself, but I find it weird. Like, I find, no, this is like you doing a weird thing. This is not human beings. This is like a stranger. It's like just objectively speaking, this is like a weird thing. because I'm not like, it's not like you like maybe learning like a skill, we learn to fight. You're like, you're learning like, like an objective skill. You do strength training, whatever the case is, but I do find it like objectively weird. But I still do it because what else am I doing now? So, but I do find it objectively, like, I look around and still like question my existence. But yeah, but it is like, it's like strange. It's like strange things we do because our life is like weird. Our life is, and what I'm saying is that you have to question where we are going as a society, because as we get more into this, it's the idea actually is that for me, it's the idea that you actually start you think less and less, and you be less and less, and everything is just fed to you more and more. And that's effectively what it is. And then you are effectively controlled. And you are drained from all your resources. Because when you're going to go into the metaverse, you're going to have to wear clothing. You're going to say, okay, so designer shop in the metaverse. So are you going to be spending money to buy a clothing that isn't even like real cloth? It's like computer code to put on your person who's also computer code. To speak to your friends who also computer code, who also bought their clothing somewhere. It's like where are we going on the day of Qiyamah? What are we going to say? Like what do we say at the day of Qiyamah when you get immersed in a life like that? Like if that is not mahjubun, like if that is not like, you know, like for me, like that is like the ultimate veiling from what the real world really is. And also it will basically also for me it will distract people from what the real struggles of life are. Because there will always be a group of people who are poor, who are under oppression. And the people who are supposed to fight the right fight will be more and more as we are now. We are all distracted because we are all consumed by entertainment. So it's like a strange where things are going. And sometimes what happens is that it's different for you to, I'm not saying that we can't use technology, but you must almost like recognize that some things are not good. Some things like, I might use WhatsApp, but I know it's not a good way to keep family ties. So that means okay, but it's not actually an ideal thing. It's much better to go visit people and sit with them and talk with them and spend time with them. So you can like use something, but also know it's not good. So yeah. I remember when I was young, there's a book called by Lord Northbourne called Looking Back on Progress. I read when I was very young, but it was interesting. I mean, in that book, it mentions that any progress must be directional. Meaning what? That if you are saying it's better, then you must be able to say what direction, what the destination is. So sketch me the world in 100 years, it is better. What are we doing in 100 years' time? What are we doing? We're sitting at home and leaving our house. And because the virtual world is always going to be more enjoyable than the real world. Because you can look at whatever you want and you can add whatever you want to it. You know what I mean? You're not bound by the reality of anything. You can and it's like a gradual process. It starts screens and moves to gaming and it moves to, okay, let's have a meeting virtually, and then moves to social, and then it just gradually evolves until it's everywhere. Like a screen is now everywhere. You can't imagine you like told your boss, I don't look at the screen when I'm at work. It doesn't exist, you know what I mean? It's like most jobs in the world, you can't escape. Yeah. I'm fine. Hadith of Prophet says, what's the Hadith of Prophet? It's fine, inshallah. Come at the end of time, it will be best for you to move to the mountains and just raise your flock and just. The Prophet, I forget the exact wording of the Hadith, but the Prophet says there will become a time and it will be better for you to isolate from society. For your family, for your mind, that you just have to actually, you have to physically take yourself out and say, I'm going to go to the wilderness. And that time is going to come. I'm not saying time is here yet. I don't think that time is here yet. But I'm saying that time is going to come. Yeah. And which is interesting because Islam is always about jama'ah and community and together. That's how Islam's nature is. But the person saying there's the time where there's no more of that, where it's broken. Then you save yourself and your family. You have to move out. So like it's one where we have to like really prepare our children all the way. If you think about what your children's going to face, you must prepare them to be like super strong. Now, where am I now? إنهم عن ربهم يومئذ لمحجوبون. ثم إنهم, verily they will definitely
أساطير.
ثم إنهم, then verily they لصالوا الجحيم. The word salu actually means to experience heat. The word salu means to feel the heat coming, to feel the heat. So therefore, sometimes I should say la salu means to enter. When you enter something, you start feeling the heat. Also means to burn as well. When you feel the heat. La salu jahim, they will enter into the jahim, means the blaze. ثم يقال, ثم, then يقال, it will be said, بجهول, what will be said? هذا الذي كنتم به تكذبون. هذا الذي, هذا, this is الذي, that which كنتم, you used to, به, regarding it, تكذبون, again the word تكذبون, you used to deny, and used to continually deem a lie. The other trend also is that like revealed religion will always be under attack, more and more. They say revealed religion, I'm talking about like Judaism, Christianity, all of those, like, let's call it religions with like prophets and holy books. Whatever the distortions and stuff, I'm saying that will be continuously under attack. Why? Because of the incompatibility with their teachings to the modern world. And some faiths will buckle and others will not. And I believe Islam won't buckle. The Muslims will buckle, they will not inshallah, Islam won't buckle. Christians a long time buckled. I mean, they've already given up. They've given up any fight. But inshallah, the Muslims will, as long as we have these type of classes, then the Muslims will be strong. Or at least a group of the Muslims will be strong. Some of them will fall under the pressure and they will try to distort faith. But the Book of Allah Ta'ala and the Sunnah of Prophet keeps things intact. Now, one of our students was telling me yesterday, she's here today, the teacher, last week she was telling me about, she's a teacher now, she's at one of the school, and she's a girls' school. You can't say, you can't call them girls. It's a girls' school, but you can't call them girls. Or ladies. You can't say hello ladies, or you can't say how are you doing guys, you can't do girls. You must call them a gender neutral term. So you must say, so she like, you can't say girl, you must say hello students, hello grade 3s. You can't say girls. So she said one day, there's someone's birthday. She says, oh, we have the birthday girl. She said, birthday girl, the whole class froze. I go back as a swear word. Like, how could you assign a gender to this child? How could you say birthday girl? They actually get in trouble for it. It's like, they actually like, you get into serious trouble for it.
Like the fact that they categorize it as all girls school.
No, but I don't think it's categorized as all girls school anymore.
I can rock up there and say, okay.
Yeah, there's a biological boy at the girls' school. Not sex versus gender. So there's where is it? Wamba girls, eh? Wamba girls is a biological boy. Yeah, he's in the class. Because he's a girl. So like these are the things we're going to have the conflict between Islam and the modern world. Because Islam is like we made him male and female. You know what I mean? Islam is like just like, you know, like black. It's like just like black and white. You know what I mean? It's just like it's like this. You can't get away from it. Now you can try to like, yeah, but Allah means this. But you know, you can't like, yeah, but Allah, you know, you can't get away from it. You can't get away. You can't get away from the fact that Islam is binary. And then that will become like a swear word eventually. You know, binary. Binary means like, how can you believe in a male and a female? It's going to be almost like you're racist. To that level. Like you said, I'm binary, like almost like you're racist. Because now you're not accepting my neutral gender, my third gender, my, you know what I mean? It's gonna, we're gonna have that opposition. Yeah. And what,
I find interesting is how this movement was so successful compared to the movement of equality between like black and white people or non-white people and white people versus like even our struggle, I suppose. But the LGBT community, they've been so good.
Yes, there's a profound observation. Brother was saying online, he was saying that I think it's a very profound observation. If you compare the struggle of equality between races, or even equality between those who are previously oppressed and not oppressed, or those who have what do you call it? Historical advantage, and those don't have historical advantage, compared to LGBT struggle, they've progressed like super fast. Yeah, it's cool. Good to check who's behind it to give you some clue as to why. But there's been an agenda that's been running for, and like I know, like if you go to most of South Africans, they don't like really actually buying. Like really, like most South Africans, like maybe in the cities and stuff, but if you go to the villages of South Africa, like this is absolutely not part of the culture of South Africa. I mean, this is like, but it's just becoming like puppeted by everybody because it's just like a mainstream idea. Like there's no critical thinking about it. No. Yeah, even I was thinking about the idea that they call it pride. Why do they call it pride? Because previously, historically, it's actually a shameful thing. Like historically, it's like a shameful thing to be sexually intimate with the same gender. But now part of the change is to call it pride, because it's something which you must be loud and proud about. So in the end, I think my suggestion to everybody is that in the end, we live in a secular democracy, which means that minorities have the rights. People have their own rights. So for me, it's not actually an issue if you want to be whatever you want to be. That's actually your business, because I also have to have my freedom to be something which you don't want to be. So, for example, I don't worry about that. The thing I'm concerned about is that when that imposition of belief comes onto my side. You with me? Where you start saying that I have to deem this as morally acceptable. Because it's one thing, like if I have a neighbor, many of us have neighbors who maybe drink and gamble. Like we're fine with that, you can do your thing, it's fine, just don't make a noise after 12, whatever, that's fine, because you're doing your thing and I'm doing my thing. But now you start imposing on me, saying like, why are you saying drinking is bad? What is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Then it becomes because you're imposing belief onto me. And that's actually the critical question. None of us says that the LGBT community must be oppressed or must be harmed or must be hurt. They can live their life, they can do whatever they want. But don't impose a belief system on someone else, different belief system. So if I have a belief system of binary genders and I have heterosexual marriages called cisgender, just check it. I think it's called cisgender, I think. CIS. It's not fluid. I think it's cisgender. Just check out CIS, I think. We believe in it. I think it's much checker. I confuse that. I Google them sometimes, forget it sometimes. So the point is basically that imposition. And that imposition is like, it's happening what I'm saying, it's happening at schools right now. It's not like something in the future. I'm saying it's happening at schools right now. You can't say, I believe in two genders and I believe that the moral way is a man who gets married. Like, there's no space to say it anymore. No, in the workplace, it's totally happening. In the big corporates, it's completely happening. It's going to happen. It's going to accelerate more and more and more. Yes, Ahmad Ziad says, cisgender describes a person whose gender identity is the same as the sex assigned at birth. Okay, that's right. Cisgender is the opposite of transgender. So we basically believe in cisgender. Okay, it's a junk word, no? Cisgender. They get pride because cisgender. No, man. See their marketing. I'm sure cis has a different etymology. We'll just find out, inshallah. Yeah. But it's basically the difference is what we call between essentialism and constructivism. Essentialism means that is what Muslims believe, that your gender is defined by who you say, like your biological sex. And constructivism is that the gender is a construct. You can construct it in any numerous ways, basically, that you want to.
The trans concept, like, it has no boundaries, because if you identify with anything, then there's no essentialism at all. Because if I identify with being a 4-year-old girl, like, no one then on that same argument can say to me, actually, you are over 18 and different rules of life. So it's just like a bit ridiculous as to where that concept would lead people to.
Yeah, there was a man who went to court. He wanted to change his age. Because, yeah, I mean, an interesting argument. You were saying that physiologically he's actually 10 years younger. If, for example, he's in 50s, but say I have the body of a 40-year-old. You measure my heart rate, my stats. I have the body of a 40-year-old. So he went to the court to try to change his age legally. But he lost the case. For now, he lost the case. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how we register births. Like a simple thing, I don't know how we register. I can register a child as male or female. Because if you take a constructivist approach, you have to choose your gender yourself, but you can't choose when you're like 1 day old. It's going to be considered to be basically, it's called oppressive to assign gender to a child, because you didn't give the child the freedom to decide on their own gender. So when they're born, what's he going to say there? to TBC, to be confirmed. It's just like there's a bit of, let's call it, there's a bit of like, it's like, you know, it's like a craziness about it also, but like, yeah. There's only one place that will stay consistent. You know, it is in sports. They can try whatever they like when it comes to sports. If they come to sports, if they don't do gender, but I don't think they can do. Because then for the biological women's artists, you know what I mean? For most sports, I mean, a woman cannot perform at the same level as men. Like, are there any physical records that a woman holds over a man? I'm talking about high jump, long jump, sprinting, long distance. Is there one world record that a woman holds that is better than a man? I don't know. It's just like men and women are different, and like it's almost like it's almost like, you know, the emperor has new clothes or no clothes. What's the story? Yeah, he's like naked, but it's almost like we can see the gender different, but now we're all gonna pretend like, I don't know, they say this deciding, you know, they're not sure if they're men or women. They're not, yeah. But it's like it's so obvious. It's obvious in biology. It's obvious in every single way, and it's going to be that kind of. So I'm saying it's happening now at the schools now. It's happening also among Muslim kids as well. Some of the schools, some of the Muslim kids are on the pride committees, and they're also worried about the genders and all of those things. And even at the schools now, if a child changes their name, you must respect the name. So if they're Kate today and they're John tomorrow, you can't say your certificate says you're Kate. I must say John now. It's like really like any of your teachers here? Which school you at? Highlands Primary. Highlands. Like Duncan MacLeod. No, just remind me of that. Braveheart, and like, you know, in the islands. I'm going to the highlands. You know what I mean? Like, is it like a house thing was there? Give it time. But you can say boys and girls there. Yeah. It'll come there eventually. Anyway. We're not here to, and for me, again, I don't mind if you want to be a girl, a boy, a cat. It's okay. It's your own business. It's your own thing. Really, I don't mind. I'm an easygoing person, whatever you want to be. But you can't impose belief on people. It's the only problem I have. You can be your own thing. It's fine. So don't impose because when you start imposing belief, you become the most dogmatic group. And I'm telling you, this is more dogmatic than any religion. Religion is actually very like Rafuddin. Religion says like, we're not going to force anybody to, like, that la is like raha. Is la nafsun al jins. There's absolutely no, we're not going to, that is what religion does. And we like the worst, like we're the bad guys. You know what I mean? Like we like the most strict religion. And we're saying we're not going to force anybody. But that religion forces everybody. And that's the fight we're going to have. And it's going to become a legal fight. And eventually we will lose this fight. And
the only reason we've seen as like the worst is because we are clear about the limits and boundaries.
no,
Where the others have buckled, but not enough seat.
no.
They buckle and they'll change what they say. We haven't because we are still going against that. And
Yes.
that's why we've become a target.
I think also it's a good means of dawah. I think in a world of confusion and like people who stand for something will stand out. People respect, like I've had people come to me before and like, I remember once I was doing some training and I made salah and I like you Muslims. I like you Muslims, because wherever you go, you do your thing. You know what I mean? Like people respect that. People respect people who have principle because in the end, people are gonna like, they're going to stand for nothing basically. They're gonna have no principles. So if you stand for nothing, I don't believe anything. Like, you're not a person anymore. No. So it will be a bit of da'wah, inshallah, but may Allah give us strength to always be on the right side of things, inshallah. Okay. كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين. كلا. Nay. إن كتاب الأبرار. Indeed, verily, the book of the Abrar. The Abrar are those people of goodness and righteousness. La. They will definitely be in Illiyin. Illiyin means, Illiyin is different tafsir, but what's the roots of Illiyin? Ulu, what does Ulu mean? High and elevated. Some Mufassirin say there's a Silatul Muntaha. When the Prophet made the seventh heaven, went up and he went to the low tree. That is where the Illiyin is. But these are also, the words itself have symbols. Meaning what? Like Sijjin as a symbol of what? A prison, locked up, low, dark, gloomy. Illiyin as a symbol of elevation, of highness, of being raised up. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا عِلِّيُّونَ وَمَا and ma what أَدْرَاكَ, what will make you realize ma what is al-'illiyun or ma 'illiyun. What is 'illiyun? Allah says kitabun. It's a book which is marqum. Marqum for the raqam again, which means to be inscribed. A word which is permanent, which is unchangeable. A book which is unchangeable and permanent, which is in an elevated place. An elevated place. And again, there can be the book itself, or it could be what the book contains. Meaning what the book itself is elevated, or it could be that the actions contained within the book, those things are going to be, that is the thing that leads to elevation. Yashhaduhul muqarrabun. And actually, the tafsir for this one, yashhadu. Someone check the tafsir of the who goes back to. Let me just see what. Okay, let me just check it quickly.
Go back to the angel.
Yeah, this refers to the angels here. Yeah. So Yashhadu is referring to the announcement of the book, basically. When the announcement of what is in the books will be announced, Yashhaduhu will witness it, al-muqarrabun. Muqarrab is the what of the what verb? It's Ismul maf'ul of the second verb. And refers there to people who have been brought close. Al-Muqarrabun, those who have been brought close to Allah Ta'ala, who are made close to Allah Ta'ala, made close permanent to Allah Ta'ala. Well, then says, Innal abrar lafi na'im. Innal abrar, verily the abrar, the people of bir, they will be la. The inna is there for emphasis and the la is there for emphasis. They will be fi in na'im, they will be in bliss. Is bliss a state or a place? Is state. So is intended a state or a place? What's intended by the verse actually is that people be in Jannah. So in other words, sometimes you can refer to something. Basically, anything metaphorical means that you don't refer to the thing by the thing itself. So for example, if I say you have nice wheels, I'm referring to a part of the thing, but I intend the whole thing. If I refer here to the people be in Na'im, I'm referring to the place of paradise, but I'm referring to the state that people experience. You understand? So in other words, it's actually a metaphorical use for Jannah saying, mentioning the state, but intending the place. So you basically have both mentioned. Innal abrar. Verily the abrar, the people of bir, they will be la, they will be definitely fi la, in na'im, they will be in na'im, in bliss, in happiness. Alal ara'ik, upon al ara'ik. What's al ara'ik? The plural of arika. Ara'ik is like a couch or like a seat basically. There will be alal ara'ik, upon couches, upon seats. Yanzurun. What's yanzurun? Looking on, observing. Is yanzurun normally a lazim or muta'addi? Lazim means, is it intransitive, or muta'addi means it's transitive? It's normally going to be a transitive. So what happens is sometimes you find Allah Ta'ala in the Quran mentions a transitive verb. Transitive verb is a verb takes a maf'ul bih. If I say, for example, he looked or he saw, it sounds incomplete. Why? Because I have to say he saw the man, or he looked at the view, right? So why would they not mention the maf'ul bih? There's various reasons in various cases, but in this case, why is the maf'ul bih mentioned? So what is could have been for ta'mim? Ta'mim is just left open so that it can like include a number of meanings. Because they could be looking at each other, they could be looking at the bliss of Jannah, they could be looking at the unveiling of Allah's face. So I was going to mention like a whole list of things there. Allah just says Yandurun, they will be looking on at all the delights, at all the amazing things, at all the splendor that they will be looking on in their entirety. Yandurun. That's going to be the one thing. The second thing is that if the maf'ul is mentioned previously, then you can omit the maf'ul. You with me? So, but the maf'ul itself is not directly mentioned previously, but something else is mentioned previously, like alludes to the maf'ul, which is what?
Na'im.
Okay, ma'im could be one of them, but something else mentioned previously. Do we? But what is mentioned previously to indicate towards that? Remember, we're dealing with a contrast. So we'll be dealing with a contrast. In other words, what won't the fujjar or the kafirin see? Innahum an rabbihim yawmaidhin lamahjubun. Whereas the abraris yanzurun. Yanzurun and mahjubun are opposite. Mahjubun means someone who is veiled. Yanzurun means someone who can see, who is looking. So in other words, because of the mahjubun, it could be understood that the intent of the maf'ul of yanzuruna is ilallah. Because we're contrasting the verses all the time. You with me? Because they mahjubun anillah wa hum yanzuruna ilallah. The evil people are veiled from Allah, whereas they are yanzuruna ilallah, they are looking at Allah. Now, another also means is that you look at something with your eye. Whereas basara is looking at something with your heart as well. And ra'a means you can see something in your dream. Whereas nadara is something where you look specifically with your eye, you study something. No. No. Again, all of these things are Allah is using human language because human language is the only thing we have available. The reality of that, we don't know. Like what form it takes and how it works. And we don't know how it works. So it's very hard to draw analogies from this life to the hereafter. Because if you think about that question and ask a question in Aqidah, does it mean Allah is a being? Does it mean Allah is in a direction? Does it mean that light bounces off the being of Allah Ta'ala and enters into you? Like those are all human side questions. You with me? The human side question. To see something, it has to have a direction. It has to have body. It has to allow light to bounce off into your pupil of your eye. So that's going to be human side. So we don't make those same analogies to the hereafter because the hereafter is which no eye has ever seen, no heart has ever grasped. So all language in the Quran with the hereafter is just like the human approximation of it. No. تعرف في وجوههم نضرة النعيم. تعرف, you will تعرف, recognize. You will come to know, you will recognize. And the you here is referring to the onlooker, whoever like the generic you. You will recognize, you will see في in وجوههم, their faces. Where's the مفعول به? نضرة. نضرة is مفعول به. You will see in their faces, nadra mean? The illumination, brightness, the radiance of an-na'im, of the bliss. Yusqawna min rahikim makhtum. What's the meaning of yusqawna?
Being given to drink.
To given to drink. So in other words, I didn't say yashrabuna, they will drink. I says yusqawna. What's the difference in yashrabuna and yusqawna? It's like a higher level of service. Yashrab means to drink. It could mean you go fish your own drinks. You're drinking. But when someone provides you a drink, it means you're going to drink it and just provide it. There's two meanings in one. It means that you're going to drink it because why else you're getting poured. And it's also being poured for you, the idea of you'll be served. Yusqawna, so they will be given to drink. Min from rahiq. What's rahiq? A pure wine. Finally. You have a pure wine. No. I'm sure the wine will give you a good eye also. That will be called juice. like what I mean by it is that see, what the Mufassirin often say is that the wine won't make you like intoxicate like in this world. But for me, what I understand by that is that worldly wine makes you intoxicated in a negative way. You with me? It gives you like a negative high. You become like timaka and you become foolish and those things. But when I read the word wine, my understanding is that when Allah says wine, it doesn't mean water or honey or milk. It means something that can give you an altered state, but in a positive sense. You know what I mean? Like a you know what I mean? There's something it can't just be like grape juice now. You know what I mean? I just so it will be like, that's why it's called the wine. That's the definition of what the wine is. What does the word makhtum mean? Like you say, khatamun anbiya, what do you mean? The seal of the prophets. So the seal is what? Like the thing on top. So what do they seal the wine with nowadays? A cork. Is a cork a type of wood? Or is it do they make a cork? The pressed wood. I mean, you don't get like a cork tree, just like a cut piece of cork off there. Like is a cork manufactured? What I'm asking is a cork manufactured? Or do you just cut a piece of cork? Because it's a bit soft and a bit like different. It has a different texture. Anyway, the Arabs didn't have such a cork. The Arabs used to use tin. They used to use clay. They used to harden the clay, and they used to put on the bottle. So that's in terms of the Arab context, that's what they actually used to use. Used to be the makhtoum. So what's the function of the makhtoum? Why do people cork their wine? See this from the air, basically, because the air basically causes the wine to deteriorate, basically, or whatever the case is. So the idea of a sealed wine is like a good quality. This is like a good quality wine that has been well sealed. Now, ختامه مسك. ختامه مسك. I must say, I'm very proud of the old Muslims in Cape Town. They really had a culture with an aversion to wine. Eh? Like I remember growing up, like when you like a wine is like something like it's like you're very averse to it. I think now it's changing. Now I think it's becoming quite. I think the youngsters now are doing drinking now, so it's becoming much more like normal. But in our time, like I don't remember any youngster, like not one who used to drink. And like almost like if you see a wine, you must like keep like social distancing. You know what I mean? Like social distance from wine. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like that consciousness was like strong amongst it. Like like wine is like like it's almost like pork. Like it's like you know what I mean? It's like crazy. Like you don't like go. Don't pick up a wine bottle even. It's just like it's hectic. So that's it's a sign of a good society. A society where like principle, like this is not your way at all. Which I think is like in our mixed communities, like I always feel like I don't know how these the older people can tell me, like when the Muslims used to live with the Christians together, like in District 6 or Southern and so on, it's almost like Muslim culture dominated. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like people just know this is like Islamic law happening here. You know what I mean? You eat by you. You know what I mean? They kind of like, we got the basics down. You like we have the liquor food here, but we don't eat by you anything. And now it's like so fancy. That's how it is, man. You know what I mean? Like it's just like that's how Cape Town culture was. It's a good thing also. It was a spirit of togetherness, but also people very principled. Yes.
It's just like nauseating the smell and like
yes.
anxious.
Yeah. It's like a hectic version. A hectic version, like if you're drunk person's like. But it's changing now, unfortunately. But I'm saying it's a very good thing. Like that pillars of our identity was very strong, and. Yeah, no. All the club is there, long as they're high and someone's drunk also. But the Purvo stand is allowed. They will come there like floating there. You know what I mean? The main thing is that the Purvo must be allowed. Yes, I mean, so Alhamdulillah, this is some I think pork is like the ultimate. No? I think pork is like number one, and then like wine is number two. You know what I mean? Like, it's a close second, but I mean definitely second. Like yeah. So it's.
Some place in the was documented, and he just asked him to take a conversation. She always remembers that as a Muslim place.
Yes. And it's very common also. So it's very common amongst Muslims. It's a good thing, inshallah, must keep those things intact. Last verse, inshallah. Khitamuhu misk. What's the khitam? Rings, but the khitam is basically can mean a number of things. The khitam can refer to that makhtoum, can refer to the actual seal itself. So in that case, it was like a clay cork, a clay thing you put in there. So it can refer to the actual cork itself, that it itself smelled like musk. But khitam also means what? The end or the last of something. The end of the last of something. So that can have two meanings. Meaning what? Like the last ingredient of this is going to be like musk. Obviously, it won't taste like worldly musk because we don't drink musk. Like, I mean, like you can't like it's like a different frame of reference. Or the third meaning can be that the final taste, like the aftertaste, is musk. Almost like when you like almost like you taste it tastes good, and as you come to the end of the taste, it gets even better. That's like the Jannah taste, like it gets better as the aftertaste and the end of it becomes better. وَفِي ذَلِكَ now.
Psychologists, they almost agree that our experiences and what causes us to feel bliss is a lot of it's got to do with our looking towards that let's call it climax.
No.
But it almost seems like I was saying, yeah, the Jannah is like it's the end that actually gives you the feeling of like looking forward to the end. It's like that penultimate feeling.
I didn't follow your last part there.
I'm just comparing it to like how we find bliss in that experience of looking forward to the end.
No.
It's like it's the end that actually gives you the best experience.
No. And also, like many of the ulama say also that it gets better with time and time. No. وَفِي ذَلِكَ وَفِي and in ذَلِكَ that. So ذَلِكَ can refer specifically what? To this Rahikim Makhtum. Or ذَلِكَ can refer to generally like Na'im, the bliss of paradise. But if it's referring to the Rahikim Makhtum, it is almost saying like for that, like in some societies, wine is like a big thing. Like it's part of every meal. People travel there. People spend money there. People basically like exert themselves to get the best wine. People come to fly to Cape Town. They take a tour. It's like almost like you can build your whole you can have like a wine tour, a wine travel. So Allah is saying like fi dhalika, in that is the actual one you must strive. Not the wine tours of this world. You must go for the wine tour of the year after. You know what I mean? So for fi dhalika, and I'm saying if the meaning is confined to that will be the intention behind. And obviously if it's na'im, it will mean a more general thing like in dhalika. فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. Then that lam is lamul amr, right? Lamul amr is used for a third person. What does yatanafas mean? To aspire or to compete or to vie. So not to vie, it's almost time to vie now. To vie. So from the nafasa. Nafasa has many meanings. You can look it up, inshallah. It's a fascinating word. But yatanafas means to. I mean, it's interesting because the word nafs means yourself. So yatanafas can also, in a sense, in the worldly also have a negative connotation. Like a competition has a negative and a positive side. There's like a kibr side, like I want to beat you, but also has a motivational side. Like I want to improve myself. So there's that kind of dual meaning to it. So fi dhalika, ya Allah is giving the command, فَلْيَتَنَافَسْ, should compete in that, not in other things. So the fi dhalika is almost as opposed to what people compete for in this world. So for that wine or for that bliss or for that paradise, that is what فَلْيَتَنَافَسْ should or let compete. Who must compete? Al-mutanafisun. What's al-mutanafisun? The competitors, those who are competing, those who are striving, those who are exerting themselves with their time and their money and their energy. How can they waste themselves on this worldly wine, on this worldly pleasures, on this passing enjoyments? It's completely misguided. Fi dhalika, in the joy of the year after, the bliss of the year after you're going to get, that is the thing you should be competing for. That's the thing you should be vying for, trying to be motivated by other people. And so this is the encouragement from Allah Ta'ala That is what we should be competing for. May Allah give us the strength to fight the good fight. Is there a question? Okay. So inshallah, we will continue and hopefully we'll finish the surah in the next lesson, inshallah. May Allah bless and protect. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
Walaikum salam.